Smile.
But I'm not happy.
People
Why are you
staring.
I don't want to do this.
You have to. They'll know
No one
something's
cares about
wrong.
your
Why
life.
is that bad?
Nobody cares. They won't understand.
Nobody
I want to
cares.
go home. You'll hurt their feelings.
This was ridiculous.
What are we even talking about?
Just
You want
keep
to keep
them
them
happy.
happy.
What if they
They're
think
gonna
you're
be
stupid?
Just
Just
keep them happy.
Just keep them happy. Just lie.
I'm not here to sugarcoat, life's already a bumpy road. Too much shelter causes pain, let's just be real honest. Things are gonna knock you down, avoidance will not help you out. Let's talk it through, here me and you, let's keep it real honest.
Hi, welcome to Real Honest, the podcast where I share candid thoughts and feelings about life, love, and relationships, God and church, adulting, the workplace, and all of the things in between. I am your host. My name is Samantha, and you probably won't always like me, but I will always be honest with you. Does anyone else out there feel like there is a very specific thing that you are supposed to do? Like the reason that you are on this planet, the reason that specific people are in your life and you're in their lives, but you're not quite sure what the thing is. Like, it could be a purpose, it could be a life calling or mission, or it could be a seasonal thing that like you spend your whole life preparing for, like the thing that you're going to do at a certain age or point in time or whatever, but you don't quite know what it is, so you're not 1,000% able to prepare for it, but you kind of have like an inkling or a feeling or a direction. You can maybe like 70% prepare for it. If you don't feel this way at all, ever, honestly, congratulations. Good for you. Lucky you. That's awesome. I'm jealous. If you do feel this way, I want to pose the question, like, what if the impossibility of figuring it out is the point? Like, what if the point is just that we're meant to be needing and striving for something, even if we never totally get to know what it is? Personally, that sounds terrible to me, but I'm here to unpack it. So I'm going to start by relating this to like my goals and the life check-in stuff. So I think I gave this update last week, but I did literally nothing in the month. Okay, I need to stop saying I did nothing. I did very little toward any of my creative goals in the month of July because I was spending my time with family. I was out of town for half the month, and then I wasn't feeling well for a week, and then I had a house guest for a week, and all of that was way too much time out of my house, being surrounded by other people because I am an introvert, and I just was completely dead inside by the end of July, to the point where now that it's August, I do not want to see anyone or go anywhere or do anything for an entire month. I really think that I need all of August to recover. So while I know that I had a lot going on, so I didn't have time to write or to do music or anything else, well, I did make a whole lot of time to watch K-pop Demon Hunters, but But I digress. The point is, while I had all of this going on in July, it was also a very big month where a lot of change was happening in terms of there was a ton of change at work, where July was the month that I went from managing a team of 6 to managing a team of 1 and had to lay off the other 5. It was also the month that I decided to step down from church leadership, just wanting to give myself some time back. I felt like it had become a second job that I was doing for free. And I was like, I really want to reallocate my time to things that I actually enjoy. I'm down to volunteer, but I think, our time is the most precious thing that we have. And, the whole point of volunteer work is that it's work that you're not paid for. So it should be work that you enjoy. And volunteering with my church is something I really enjoyed for probably 2.5 to 3 years. And then the last 2 years, I've just kind of been going through the motions because it was comfortable and I was used to it. So July was the first month that I was like officially stepping back. So I found myself with a bunch of extra time, both like time back at work, time back from not volunteering with church anymore. And then my hours got cut at work. So I found myself with even more time. And I was trying to focus on the positive aspect of, okay, I'm going to focus this time into figuring out this thing that I feel like I'm supposed to do. I know that it's in the creative realm. I know that it's in the entertainment realm, be it acting, directing, music, writing. I know that it has something to do with storytelling. Maybe it's that I'm supposed to finish my book. Maybe it's that I'm supposed to spend more time trying to become an actress or whatever it is. And so I've kind of have all these different projects in the air to try to figure out like which one I gravitate toward the most that I want to focus on for the next week or month or year or however long I want to focus on it until I feel like I need to shift to something else. But I also have financial goals that are not being met that are making me want to prioritize getting either a second job or a different job. And so as I've started looking into that, I have shocked myself by looking at in-person jobs. I think I actually miss being in an office. I know, crazy. I actually have a minor desire to see some people on a regular basis and to be around some people. Of course, it would really depend on who my coworkers are and what the office culture is like. But I find it interesting because prior to, I think I started working from home and maybe it was 2018. So prior to then, all I wanted to do was work from home. And I was so tired of going to offices and I was like, I want to work from home. I want to work from home. And I never dreamed that it would be a reality. And then when I did start working from home, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been praying for all these years. And now that I've been doing that for so many years, I'm like, I'm kind of over it. I might be ready to do something else. And so I don't want to misread anything that God is trying to tell me, even though I know I can't 100% know, but I do. Now I'm caught in between. Did God give me all this time to focus on my creative stuff? And then by getting a new job, am I disobeying God? Or is it that it's been time for me to start looking for a new job for a while, but I was so busy and so tired with all the other things I had going on that I could not put the time into updating my resume and job hunting and even thinking about interviewing. And because I was so busy with the church stuff, I would never have considered returning to office because I need the flexibility to take a whole lot of meetings and calls in the middle of the day. Or maybe it's neither of these things and God's just like, I really don't care. You get to pick. Congratulations. Have fun. So I titled this episode with a lyric from Starlight, which, don't you see the starlight, starlight? Don't you dream impossible things? If you're not a Swiftie, I'm sad for you. You're really missing out. But that's not the point. The point is that the lyric is similar to a quote from one of the episodes of The Perfect Couple on Netflix, which I really, really loved. I enjoyed that show a lot. And whenever there's like a line in a show or a movie that is really powerful or sticks out or resonates with me, I write it in my planner. And so the quote that I wrote, it was Nicole Kidman's character says to one of her daughters, I think, "We all need something impossible to strive for. It's why we read fiction." And I absolutely love and agree with and really resonate with that. I think that's kind of the whole point of storytelling, is the escapism of it all. But the escapism is maybe 70-80% of it, but the rest of the way, like, you have to resonate with it too for it to really mean something. Like you're escaping into this world and you're having an emotional experience, but also having a feeling of this could be me. Maybe not the specific circumstances that the character is going through, but I could be feeling the way that this person is feeling at some point in time. Or I have felt that way, and I'm now seeing this and it's inspiring me to know that it's not going to feel this way forever. I'm going to come out of it. There will be joy again, peace again, happiness again after pain, whatever it is that works for you. As you guys know, I'm talking about some movie or TV show or song pretty much every second of every day. And so I have these conversations with my friends and family all the time, and I feel like a good number of people over the years have said things like, people love to complain about something not being realistic. And I'm always sitting there like, it's not supposed to be realistic. That's why we watch it. Like, we're living realistic. We don't want realistic. We want hyper realism. We want a world that we could see ourselves in that's better than what we have. You know, that's why like young women loved the Bold type so much. That was like these 320 somethings that meet at work, become best friends, and are then ride or dies through all the highs and lows. It's like every TV show seems to have a core group of 2, 3, or 4 friends that do everything together. And, you know, I've got so many friends that are like, that's so unrealistic, it never happens. I'm like, yeah, that's why we keep seeing it on TV, because that's what we all want. We want those 4 besties that we brunch with every Sunday and book club with on the first Friday of every month, and like get to do the slumber parties with the matching outfits and the giggles. And that's the dream. That's not reality, but that's what pulls us in to watch it, is because we want that, and we see ourselves and our friends in the characters, and we dream that it's possible, but it's also unattainable, and it's striving for the impossible that keeps us coming back. I mean, book boyfriends, anyone? The romance novel genre is so popular because straight men don't talk like this. They don't do these things. So sorry, guys. You're typically not this interesting, not this sexy. And that's why we have boyfriends in books. So when I watched The Perfect Couple and I heard this quote, I was like, yes, exactly. We all do need something to strive for. And that is why we read fiction and we watch movies and we watch TV and we listen to music, and we're so obsessed with consuming stories, because we do all need this impossible thing to strive for. And I used this quote to segue into a conversation with my therapist about how I feel like, I was going to say half, but it's more than half of my life is me struggling to like figure out what this thing is, because she and I have been talking a lot about rest and overcommitting and perfectionism, and just kind of how partly the root of my inability to rest, or I shouldn't say it's not a complete inability, but why I struggle so much to rest is because I feel like there's this thing that I need to do. And if I lay down for a day, then I have derailed my plan. And I'm learning that everybody does not have this thing. Like my sister, for example, can lay on the couch for an entire weekend totally guilt-free, because she's like, there's nothing else that I want to do. Like she's like, all that I really aspire to in life is getting my paycheck and spending it on things that I enjoy, like happy hour, time with friends and family, traveling. Like that's enough for me. There's not any like specific role that she feels like she needs to play, or thing that she feels like she needs to do or accomplish as a human on this earth. Whereas I feel like there's a lot that I am supposed to do before I die. And I feel like every day I'm getting closer to dying, and I'm not getting any closer to doing the thing. So even though I know that rest is important and rest is necessary, I really, really struggle with it, because I feel like if I'm not working, I need to be doing the work that gets me closer to completing my thing. And I just don't necessarily know what it is. And it seems like it's always the days that you're feeling really good. You know, the days that you've got therapy scheduled and you get into the office and you're like, you know what? I don't think I even have anything to talk about today. Like, I'm doing great. I'm feeling great. No notes, no breakdowns, nothing to discuss since our last session. I might even go in there and tell her that it's time for us to take a break. Like, I'm doing really good. Those are always the days that I cry. And on this particular day, we started discussing what I've been discussing here, you know, the whole, like, I think that there's this thing that I need to do. And I kind of have a general, like, realm of where this thing is, but I don't know specifically what it is or how to get there. And she was like, okay, what if this thing doesn't exist? And when I tell you guys, I was like, excuse me, what? And then just immediately was sobbing. It was terrible. But I was like, well, okay, we're not taking a break. And this was also way at the end of the session. So then, of course, the next session we had to unpack, like, why did we have such a big emotional reaction to this? And I was just like, because I have felt this way my entire life, I've been pursuing the thing. And if the thing doesn't exist, then life is legitimately meaningless to me. Like if there's not a thing that I'm supposed to do, if I don't have a purpose, if I don't have a calling, if I'm just here to like float around and do a job just to make money to afford living in a house that I only need to do so that I can keep doing the job, and it's just a meaningless cycle of over and over and over again, like that existence is not worth it to me. Like that is so overwhelmingly sad that if the thing that I am striving for doesn't exist, I don't want to know. And I want to just keep plowing full speed ahead toward the impossible thing that I'm never going to get, and just don't even tell me that I can't get there, because otherwise I will jump off a bridge. And that is probably part of what, when people say, you know, it's like, it's the journey, not the destination. Like, you know, okay, that's kind of the same thing. But yeah, it's like we've got to be working toward something, or literally, what is the point? If you feel like there's a thing, please tell me so I'm not crazy. I did interview, like immediately when I got out of therapy that day, I interviewed probably 30 of my friends. And it was, I want to say it was probably a 60-40 split, 60 being people that do believe there's a thing and 40 being people that don't. So it was encouraging to know, but like, I always want more people to be like, yes, there's absolutely a thing. So like, feel free to email me at realhonestpod@gmail.com just to say there is a thing. Thanks, appreciate it. For the people out there who have or want a relationship with God and also feel like there's a thing and they have a greater purpose or calling, I think it's a little easier, at least in my opinion and my experience. It's been easier because I feel like if it wasn't impossible, then we wouldn't need God, because that's what God is for, and that's what prayer is for, is to fill the gap between like our human limitations, like what we have the ability to do, and like God filling in the gap. Because if we could do everything ourselves, then it's like, okay, why bother praying ever? Like, why talk to God? Why pursue him? Why have a relationship? So if that's something that's important to you, I do think that doing that can make it easier, and saying like, well, yeah, it feels impossible because that's for me to talk to God about. Like, that's for me and God to figure out. If you do not believe in God, or don't have a relationship with him, or don't want a relationship with him, I actually am really curious to know if you are a person that, like, if you're not a believer, if you're not spiritual in any way, but you do feel like you're here for a reason and there is something that you're supposed to do, how do you reconcile that? Like what is where do you go to try to figure out what the thing is, and what is your measure of getting closer or further away from it? Please email me at realhonestpod@gmail.com. I like legitimately would love to know. One of my friends said that they think that their thing is to be happy, and that they feel like they're pretty happy and like definitely are on the path to get there. And I was like, okay, well, let's dig into that more. Like, how are you defining happy? How are you measuring happy? And I think it was a lot of like financial peace and security, like prioritizing relationships that make me feel peaceful and that add to my life, and like getting rid of the toxic people. And I feel like that it all is kind of all encompassing of like, we want to be at peace. We want to be enjoying life. We want to feel pleasure. Like, we want to minimize the pain as much as we can, but knowing that it's impossible to get rid of it. So we want to surround ourselves with people and things that support getting through the pain in positive ways, and like the painful periods lasting shorter amounts of time. Like, I think that I, in that case, would give the same answer that my friend did. And it's just like, the things that make me happy and that get me through like the dark times are really good stories, and like connecting with people and having an emotional experience. Like, oh my gosh, you guys, I was up all night last night reading a book that I just loved so much. It made me so sad, which made me so happy. I was just laying in bed reading this book and crying for like 2 hours. And I was like, the fact that this author got me to connect with multiple different characters in the book, where I was so like, my heart broke for every one of them. I was like, that's the point. Like, if that's not what I'm feeling, I don't want to read a book. To anyone out there who is wrestling with what their thing is and like super frustrated and struggling to rest because they know that it exists and they can't find it, I do just want to let you know that you are not alone. I can't promise you that the thing exists. If it doesn't exist, I hope you're like me and you're like, I'm gonna just pretend it does anyway and keep running toward it. Because I say stay open and keep dreaming, especially for creative people. We need that or we will go insane. My hard conversation of the week this time was actually in my book club where we were all having a discussion about like our different methods of reading and watching and kind of like why we read books and why we watch TV and movies. And a lot of the people in my group said that they are passive readers and or watching, meaning that they're not super engaged in the story. They're not necessarily looking to have an emotional experience. Like they are reading the book to keep their mind busy, or they have the show or the movie on as like background noise, but it's not like the active activity is not reading the book or watching the movie. It's just like a passive thing that they have going on while they're prioritizing something else. And I'm the only person in my book club that is like a writer and a storyteller and a musician, and I have never felt more insulted as an artist as I did like hearing multiple women say like, oh yeah, I don't really care about the story. I don't really care if I connect to the characters, because I was sitting there like, well, so what's the point? Like, why read books? Why watch movies? And like, as somebody who writes things, like if I'm gonna spend weeks, months, or years creating something, you know, if I get my novel published one day and somebody comes up to me and says like, yeah, I mean, I put on the audiobook or I like skimmed it, but I didn't really pay attention to what the story was or connect to any of the characters. Like, it's one thing if you were trying to do that and I am not a good writer and my writing just couldn't get you there. But if it just wasn't even important to you to do and you just didn't care, then like that is literally the biggest insult to me as the creator. And I'm like, I'd rather you not read it. And I just like, as I was sitting there like listening to this group all say like, yeah, I just passively watch things, like I don't really care to be super invested in the show. I was thinking about this short film that I was just a part of a few weeks ago that we were filming, and the purpose of the short film is to cast a light on the epidemic of Black male suicide, because Black men's suicide rate is higher than other races, because even though like men in general are taught to keep their feelings in and not talk about things, it like even worse in the Black community. And so there's this really heavy and emotional scene that I just thought the directors did the most incredible job of making the set just such a safe environment for all of the actors to support one another, and essentially so that we could all be there to give the actor who was doing this particular scene the space and the support that he needed to like go there emotionally and make it happen. And like all of us, like he only had to do 2 takes of it, praise God, because it was heavy, but all of us were like, that were in the room, like we all had chills and just our hair was standing on end. Everybody had goosebumps. We were all sitting there looking at each other. And one of the co-directors was like, do you guys feel this? Like, if we're this emotionally impacted by this making it, like imagine how many people are going to be affected by this when they watch it. And like that just made me so excited to like be a part of it and to get to share it with people when it's ready. And now I'm like, but if there are so many people out there who don't care as much as we do and are just going to passively watch something and not try to learn something or feel something or connect with something, then like what difference does it even make if they see it or not? So mostly I was in distress after this book club, and I guess it technically isn't a hard conversation because it wasn't really a conversation. Like I kind of just was sitting there and taking it in, and I didn't bother to tell them how much they were upsetting me because I honestly did not think that the group of people was going to understand where I was coming from, but I knew that one of them would a little bit. So I reached out to one after just to say like, here's how I'm feeling. after that conversation, and she was like, I saw it on your face and I totally get it, because like you are an artist and like you do care, and like she's also one of the people who I have asked to read my book and give me feedback, so I was at least able to like have a candid conversation with her where I was like, if you are like totally not interested in the story and you're gonna just like read it to be busy, then don't bother. Like, I need feedback from people that are actually looking to get out of it what I'm putting into it. And so that at least was very helpful for me to be able to level set like with the people that are have volunteered to be my beta readers, just to be more clear on like the feedback that I'm looking for. And like, you know, I'm creating a story for specific people, I guess, to feel a specific way, and I want those people to be able to find it. And you know, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and like that's okay. Last question I want to leave you guys with is for those who do know what their thing is and they just haven't gotten there yet. Please email me at realhonestpod@gmail.com, or call me or text me or DM me or whatever. But what is your impossible dream? And what would happen if you just trusted yourself and God or the universe or, you know, whoever, whatever you believe in, if you just trusted that you're not crazy for believing in this dream? To wrap up with what I'm watching, still K-pop Demon Hunters. If you haven't watched it, watch it. I promise it's amazing. Please, I just want everyone to see it. It's so good. Outside of that, I did watch My Oxford Year in the past week. It was exactly what I expected it to be, which is a cute rom-com that dances around the emotion rather than really goes there, and I found it incredibly disappointing and forgettable. I rated it 2.5, which is a completely average movie to me. Like, it was fine. It had a setting, it had characters, it had a beginning, middle, and end, but I think the characters could have been played by anyone. I really like the two leads in the movie, but I don't think that they were given material that like really catered to them needing any particular or specific talent. You know, I guess it was sweet. It was fine. I won't watch it again, and this time next year I probably won't remember how I felt about it. But K-pop Demon Hunters, on the other hand, makes me really happy and really sad every time I watch it. So there's that. Okay, bye.
I'm not here to sugarcoat, life's already a bumpy road. Too much shelter causes pain, let's just be real honest. Things are gonna knock you down, avoidance will not help you out. Let's talk it through, here me and you, let's keep it real honest.